Mariachi, my great-great-grandmother. She came from Italy through Ellis Island in 1911. She worked hard for the future that she wanted. She learned English, volunteered as an interpreter. She even pawned her own wedding ring so that my great-grandmother could buy the books she needed to graduate from high school. Many people, particularly Americans, have a similar family story to my own, maybe with the immigrant generation being a little closer or a little further away than mine. This is the type of story that everyone knows. Through my work, I meet many people who are facing similar challenges with similar courage and skill, but refugees have a different story. My great-great-grandparents came here on the promise of economic opportunity, but refugees have fled their homes unwillingly after experiencing violence, torture, rape, persecution, and war. They have lost their families and spent decades in a refugee camp without identity or hope. Once they're here, they're often responsible for changing the face of their neighborhoods for the better, making our streets safer, opening businesses, promoting education. They are changing the face of their new homes and breathing life into areas that have fallen into disrepair. Many established citizens are attempting to do the same things in the same areas, and sometimes connections are made between the two efforts, but more often, they're not. I believe that making these connections is crucial to creating the cities that we all imagine. You have to have a down-to-earth personal relationship across communities in order for all the rest to follow. So eat dinner together, ask to learn some words in a new language, maybe go for a walk in the park and find out they've never used a swing before. Whatever it is, it needs to be natural and normal and honest, so don't force it, and be humble. If you're not sure where you can start, you could try volunteering with an organization that could facilitate your introductions. I'll start that process for you right now today, as I introduce my brother Bishnu, who will tell you his own story.
Hi, my name is Bishnu Prasad Adhikari. I'm a Bhutanese Nepali from Bhutan. Bhutan is a very small country nestling between the two powerful countries, China and India. According to my family history, my great-great-grandfather came to Bhutan to start farming. My family has been Bhutanese citizens as many generations as Bryana's family has been American citizen. I enjoyed my childhood and school days very happily in Bhutan. Then, after 1985, the government began persecuting the ethnic Nepali, forcing the conformity of dress, language, and religion. The government forced people to sign a voluntary migration form, which they could not read, and forced them to use that form and forced them out of the country forever. The day they came for me still comes to me as a nightmare regularly. I was arrested and beaten in front of my family. That night, I had 1 rupee note. You can see behind me in the slide, stained with my blood. I kept it, meaning to throw it out, but never did. My mother and my wife sat outside of the jail every day, managing, smuggling the red blanket, but they could not find out if I was alive or not. In the jail, I underwent heavy torture for 14 months until I wanted to commit suicide. One night, I was tortured very badly and left passed out in a pool of my own blood. No one came for help for 3 days. My jailmates thought that I had died. My family heard this rumor and they began formally mourning for me. One day, the chief of the jail sent someone to tend my wounds, and I was able to recover. I was able to wave the red blanket through the bars of the cells. And then the villagers ran to my family and tell that I was alive. Then I asked for the form and signed it. I didn't bring it with me, but you can see one, my wife's uncle's fund in the slide. They released me immediately on the condition that I leave the country, never return on pain of death. And one morning, we started our long journey without destination. We crossed into India, but when they found out, they packed us in vans and kicked out at the border with Nepal. They didn't want us either. And we were packed up to an isolated part of the jungle where a refugee camp was forming at the bank of the river.
If you have heard of Bhutan before today, you probably have heard about the government's Gross National Happiness Program. This program, it shows that Bhutan is the first country to measure its citizens' happiness as a key economic indicator. Please know that this policy is inseparable from the forcible eviction of 1/6 of Bhutan's population. If there are about 300 of you in the room today, then if they represent the population of Bhutan at the beginning of Bishnu's story, the 50 or so people in these first few rows represent the number of people who've been forced from their homes since then. That means that over 100,000 people have stories to tell that are just like Bishnu's.
At the time of my eviction, I was a young man of 23 with hopes and goals for my life, but I did not have way to achieve those goals. In the camp, I started volunteering for the victims of torture from Bhutan because I was experienced. I also worked as a camp management committee member and as a teacher for 17 years. I spent nearly 2 decades in the camp facing many hazardous situations. There was substandard shelter, insufficient food, and little education. In 2005, we lost our mom because of simple health care. In the camp, UNHCR and many other humanitarian agencies helped us to survive as human beings, which was grateful, and still we are grateful for that. I spent my best days struggling for survival, hoping that we could return back home, eventually realizing that it would never happen, and when UN announced that we could be resettled, my hopes for life was reignited. Still, it was a bitterly hard choice for me to leave everything I knew behind me for a second time. I applied to come to America because America was my dreamland when I was a young boy in my school days. Soon I came to know Buffalo, an unknown city, with you as my home.
Buffalo, New York is a uniquely situated city to observe what happens when large numbers of refugees make their homes in a new place. Right now, we take in over 1,800 refugees every year. That's 3 times as many as New York City takes. Records on refugee resettlement show that over 20,000 refugees have made their home here in the last 30 years, not accounting for birth or death or immigration rates. That means refugees and their families have significantly slowed population loss in our area, and they could even one day reverse it. Some of the thriving communities that are flourishing across the world are settled around people who have fled from places like Burma, Bhutan, Eritrea, Somalia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Congo, and many others. In the US last year, we resettled people from over 40 countries, speaking over 80 languages. Bishnu is speaking of the Bhutanese and Nepali because they're his own community, but they're only one thread in this complex tapestry that is being woven across the globe. Particularly in a post-industrial city like us, there are many challenges. For instance, high home vacancy can create many issues, but it can also lead to great possibilities for people who are starting their life from scratch. While Bishnu's community only began arriving 6 years ago, Already in Buffalo, there are 21 formerly vacant homes that are now bustling and beautiful with their proud Bhutanese Nepali homeowners. Lots of great work is being done at the grassroots level to revitalize urban neighborhoods everywhere. When we have so many problems and so far to go, so much is possible for us. We are all changing our neighborhoods. We're changing our cities, not so that they look like someone else's city, but so that they look like us, like all of us. And part of that landscape now is people coming from dozens of different countries and making a home for their children. We have these great new partners in our dream for a brighter future. We need to learn how we can weave our dreams together. That won't be as hard as you may think, because our dreams are already running parallel. Many of the things that have been suggested as innovative approaches to urbanism are the exact things that refugee communities are transplanting to their new homes. Think of things that could be at risk of dying out, like small agriculture or skilled trades. Refugees are bringing those sorts of skills with them, and they can share if we can connect. One example of a successful connection that I'm proud to be a part of is a sewing cooperative that's about to open. Someone who volunteers in our agency leading the sewing class is partnering with skilled refugee tailors. This new business is going to provide modern and traditional clothing in a collaborative environment where skills can be shared. As citizens, too many of us have learned to stop believing in our neighborhoods and in our own self-efficacy to overcome social inequities. Let's have that be the one thing that we don't pass on to our newest citizens.
We flew for America and came to New York airport on the 7th of December 2009. I was one of the educated men in my camp for my community. But when I came to the airport, I was lost. When we were in the camp, we had no way to learn the advanced systems and technology for this modern world, so we stood at the side of the gate where we arrived by, tags hanging from our neck, and we had no idea where to go next. A stranger appeared in front of me and asked if I was bound for Buffalo. He also told me that the gate for Buffalo had been changed to gate 100. He called a taxi and rushed with us to gate number 100. He said his name was John. He was the first man I saw when I was looking for my new home, what kind of place it would be. And his kindly heart lived with me until my last breath. My case manager from Journey's End was waiting in the Buffalo airport. He took us to our apartment and helped us what we need to do at first. There are many things to do right away in our first and new country. I faced many challenges in hard time when I was new here. I know many of the new people who do not speak English may face more than that. I feel very lucky. Journeys and Refugee Services helped me what I need to do. They send volunteers to start our life in Buffalo, in the US. Journeys and alone has 1,000 volunteers each year to help the new people like myself to start new life here. Inspired of Journeys End's help and your help, I started a small community group that's called Nepali Bhutanese Community Volunteers to help to make our community stronger and help the new people to the country. In 2012, I started working as a vocational trainer and employment specialist for Journeys End. And right now, I'm helping my community members to work here, train them how to work here, and find job for them. After 2 years from now, after 2 months from now, I'll be enjoying my 4th year anniversary in the country. 1 year later, I'll be taking oath for my citizenship. I'll be having my country again.
What we do here, the way that we all leave this talk and live our next days, will be passed around the world and will affect generations to come. I'm not speaking of a butterfly effect, but rather about the refugee diaspora watching this talk right now. Modern technology has changed so many things about the ways that humans communicate and society develops. We all know that. But think how much more heavily you would depend on it if you were suddenly placed in a brand new situation you had no previous skills or experience to deal with. Often, when something happens to a member of the refugee community, it's passed around the internet for the group to help draw conclusions, particularly if this event has to do with a very negative or very positive experience in one's new community. The effects can be felt throughout the world. This means that when a new American community hailing from Myanmar organizes a street festival, if their city works with them to shut down the street and keep everyone safe, people around the world find out about that, and that city's reputation as a welcoming community increases. So think of yourselves every day like John meeting Bishnu at the airport. Bishnu's never seen him again, probably never will, but his name and kindness are known throughout the worldwide Bhutanese Nepali community. So for our audience members today, try every day to live up to Buffalo's nickname as a city of good neighbors. And for refugees and citizens listening across the world, eat dinner with your neighbors, plant a community garden together, ask about their stories, and tell them your own. Really think about the future that you want to see, and then walk out of your doors and make it happen. Timrati, Dita, Bite Kadinharu, Bolnu, Ani Bolaunu Palta. Aba Timi Matra, Bhutanki Teli Hoinao. Timita, Hami Sabaiki Sangini Hao. Didi, Bahini, Atava Chimeki Hao.
What my sister Bryana said was a line from the poem she said in front of our Bhutanese refugee women in this 2013. It goes like this. The bitter days you passed, you should forget and let it be forgotten by all. Now you are not only the sister of the Bhutanese, you are the sister, friend, and neighbors of ours. When we came to the US, we came with hope. There was a saying in the refugee camp, USA, stood for you start again. We dreamed our family could be in safe and our children will get good education here. Now we discovered another thing, that is a new American dream, which we should do together, transform the city together. In this, we need your help. The life or the hope for my life was lost and unexpectedly returned by the great help provided by my good neighbors. Now, we feel our life in the US is blooming like marigolds of spring as in our own native life. Thank you so much. That's it, the life.